the InDesign document to be able to showcase all your Photoshop work that you did. The only writing you have to do is just typing your name up in the top left corner, reasonably large sized. The rest of the text you don't need to add. There are some instructions on each one of these as to how big they're supposed to be. So let's make sure we do that. Let's not worry overall about exactly where the placement is. Like, I want this bag to be 1.5 inches tall, not counting the reflection, but I don't care exactly where it's sitting on the page. So I'm going to go over to InDesign, and I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to turn the facing pages off, but I'm going to say that I want the number of pages to be 2. Start page is 1, number of pages 2, facing pages off. 51 by 66 picas, which is probably how your document will open, is 8.5 by 11, 3 pica margin. It's fine. Click OK. Now, as I'm sitting here on page 1, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw the little box to put the guys in. I remember that said that it was supposed to be 7.5 by 5. I can use either the rectangle frame or the rectangle tool. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to click it somewhere over here, and I'm going to type in 7.5 IN by 5 IN. Click OK. I'm going to come over here to the swatch panel, which should be sitting over here collapsed. I'm going to click on the little sandwich icon up in the top right corner, which gives me my swatch panel options. Go to New Color Swatch. Make sure this is Process and CMYK. 2720 was the color. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's filled with that. I'm going to take the stroke to none, and I'm going to leave that sitting somewhere about here like this, just to leave room for my name. I'm going to click off on that. I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to pull down to Place, and I'm going to get my scared guy. My scared guy I chose to leave with all the layers in it in Photoshop, so I'm going to take care of importing just the layers I want when I'm here in InDesign, which just means I only have one Photoshop file rather than a bunch of ones. And I'm going to click Options right here, and then I'm going to click the Show Import Options. And when I do that, it's going to give me more options here in this Place command. I'm going to leave the background copy off. I'm going to turn all the other layers off. All I want on this one is the background copy where I clipped him out. Click OK. Place him somewhere on the page. He's huge. Okay, he needs to be 2 inches tall, but he's way too big to begin with, so I'm just going to type in a number here for, this is the percentages on the size of the box. I'm going to type in 20. And as long as I have this chain link clicked, rather than it being broken, when I typed in the 20, it automatically sized his other dimension to be 20%. I'm sure he's still too big. You can get the rectangle tool, click it somewhere on the page, 1 IN by 2 IN. Fill it with some kind of color so I can see it easier. Okay, just move that up here. Now I'm going to click on the guy with this huge extra frame on him, hold down Command Shift, grab this bottom left corner, and I'm going to pull up. And then I'm going to hit Command 1 just to see how close I am. I'm not worried about this being absolutely perfect. I'm going to put this up kind of on the hump on his back. And his shoe, he's still just a tiny bit too big. So click on the object again, Command Shift, wait a second, and move up slightly until his shoe disappears. That is just fine. Click off, click on the pink box, hit delete, Command 0 to kind of center the page in my home view. Move him over to the side quite a bit. Then I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to pull down the Step and Repeat. And let's just assume this had popped up as 1. If I come in here and I type in my count of 3, because I need to make 3 more copies of him, I take the vertical offset to 0. That's going to keep them all straight across on a line. In my horizontal, I can just type in some different numbers. If he's about 2 inches wide, I could try 12 picas. And that's a little bit too big, because he's not really 2 picas wide. Or 12 picas wide. The height of him is 12 picas wide. So I could come back and maybe try 11 picas. And I bet I could even type in 11p6. And they should all fit kind of within that blue box. But 11 picas, 11p3, 11p6, doesn't really matter to me. Click OK. And now I'm set up to be able to click on the second box. This is the one with the drop shadow. Go up to File, Place. Go back to the scared guy. Those options are still on, so if I leave the drop shadow layer on and the background copy and turn the other ones off, that's ready to go, and it'll pop it in at the right size. Click on the third one, click on scared guy. This is the one that I need the goofy layer on, but no cast shadow. And then the last one, click on him. Click on the scared guy one last time, leave the cast shadow layer on, turn off the other ones I don't need, so it's just background copy and drop shadow, and that should be good. I think I'm maybe losing a little bit of the cast shadow here, so I'm going to click on the first guy, hold the shift down to grab multiple objects, and the second one. I'm still holding shift, grab the third, grab the fourth, just use my arrow keys to bump him up. Yeah, looks great. I'm going to go up to File, clicked off on everything, go up to File, pull down to Place. I'm going to find the Friskies reflection, but right now I no longer want that extra option box open. So once I've selected Friskies, I'm going to go to Options and turn the Show Import Options off and click Open. Place him somewhere on the page, way too big again. Command-Shift, pull down. I'm going to go get the rectangle tool, and again I'm going to click 1 IN, this time by 1.5 IN for 1.5 inches. Fill it with the color to make it easier to see. I'm going to go ahead and just make it a lot smaller, and then I'm going to put it kind of beside this thing. Still way too big. Still way too big. And then now that I've got it kind of closer, and I set the top of the bag up so kind of line up with the top of the pink box, I'm going to hold down again Command-Shift, push and hold on this bottom right dot, and I'm going to move it up. And granted, when I do this, not only did it resize, I'm now going to zoom in to see how I'm doing. So I'm going to hit Command-1 to zoom in some. The bottom's kind of in the right place, but when I'm moving the bottom or resizing the picture, it changes the bottom, but it also changes the orientation of the top. So I probably need to pull this down a little bit more. Push this one back up a little bit. And I'm going to say that's pretty close to my 1.5 inches, so I'm happy with that. Click on the pink box, get rid of it. Move him just somewhere over here to the side. Command 0 to return me home. Make sure nothing is selected by clicking off. File, Place. Go to the tattoo girl. She happens to need to be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to place her just over here. I'm going to push and hold with that tool, and I'm going to pull out to the right, and I'm looking up at the two places I can look. Up in the top left corner, you have your orientation box, but then you have the X and Y coordinates for where it is on the page, and right after that is the W and the H. 4 inches, 6 picas in an inch. She needs to be 24 picas wide, and I can either see that, I can look at that up in the top left corner. I was starting to make it a little bit too big. There we go, 24 picas. And let go. And I'll just put her somewhere over here to the right. Don't exactly care where the placement is. Let me move on to page 2. And let's go back to the Acrobat document really quick. Okay, the dog's 4 inches wide. The people 5 inches wide. These people 5 inches wide. Okay. So with nothing selected, I go up to File, Place. I find my dogs on the beach. I can push and hold, and I'm starting up at the top again until I get to 24 picas. Let go. Oops. That one's good. Then go up to File, Place. I'm going to go find my people with the building background. I'm going to place them. Now this time it's 5 inches wide, so 5 inches times 6 picas. I need to place this one 30 picas. Okay, there's that. And I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to find my people with my white background fixed. And this one's going to be a little bit weird because I'm going to place it, but the picture box is actually a lot wider than the people themselves. So once I've placed them, I want to grab them and move them back, kind of line them up underneath this picture. There we go, so his shoulder's kind of even here. And I'll tell you what, just eyeball this one, just stare it down. Actually, that looks pretty good. It's maybe just a tiny bit too big. It's pretty doggone close, that's fine. So I'm just gonna move this one over here and make sure that it's up on the page. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this one is moved over a little bit too. But this picture is actually sitting on top of the white background that I just allowed to import with the white background here. So I need to click on this picture and go up to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And then we can just move this around a little bit. I'm okay with this overlapping slightly. So that ultimately we end up with something that looks kind of like this. I have to have this overlap, but it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that I see this guy's head. So this is fine. I could save my document in case I thought that I had to come back to it. Quickfire 3. And then I just go up to File and I pull down to Export as an Adobe PDF for print. That sounds fine. Hit Save. In this box, unless you need to be messing with the options, as long as this says high quality print, we don't need to worry about turning any of these things on or off, so just hit Export, and then it'll be done. Quit, and upload that file to Blackboard.